Investigating Children's Irony Comprehension, the podcast.
All right, time to turn off the game and clean your room.
Oh, yay! Cleaning my room is exactly how I wanted to spend my afternoon.
Well, lucky you, it's your lucky day.
Did you catch that? Both the child's sarcastic excitement and the mom's cheerful lucky you were great examples of irony, and that's what we are diving into now. Welcome to Why Does Irony Comprehension Matter for Children? An episode that will explore the importance of one of the childhood's most fascinating cognitive milestones. Irony isn't just a linguistic twist, it's a powerful tool that fosters perspective taking and emotional intelligence in both the young and grown-ups. But why is understanding irony so important during development? To answer this question and explore how adults' daily use of irony can impact children, we will discuss science-based findings on why some adults choose not to use it in front of young ones and what benefits can irony bring to the child. Therefore, whether you are a parent, a teacher, or simply curious about this topic, join us for insights that will reshape your understanding of language development in children. To get straight into the topic, how much do adults actually use irony towards children?
Recently, we conducted a small survey on this. The participants' answers clearly showed that adults use less irony toward children than in conversations with other adults. The numbers provided show an approximate ratio of 1:4 using irony much less towards children. Keep in mind that these results are based on self-reports, so they may not fully reflect real-life situations. But overall, it seems that adults usually avoid irony with kids.
A ratio of 1:4 really doesn't seem like much to me.
That's right. The participants found the use of irony toward children almost as inappropriate as towards strangers. But when it comes to conversations with friends and family, irony is much more common.
But why is that? Why do some people, like parents or institutions, avoid using irony, especially with children?
I think the main concern is that children may not fully understand irony, which can confuse them. Irony often relies on saying one thing but meaning another, or often even the opposite. If a child doesn't grasp this, it might make them unsure how to act or respond.
That makes sense. Maybe kids just aren't ready developmentally to understand irony yet.
Exactly. Getting irony is tied to a child's growth in thinking and language. For example, kids need to develop something called theory of mind, which is the ability to understand what others are thinking or feeling. To really get irony, this ability grows over time.
Interesting. If children don't understand, could that negatively impact them?
If a child keeps encountering irony they don't get, it might make them feel left out or insecure. They might start to question their social skills or how well they understand language. That's why some adults avoid using irony around younger kids, to keep communication clear and supportive.
Does that mean we shouldn't use irony to children?
Not necessarily. It's okay to use irony with kids, but it's important to make sure they can understand it. For younger children, though, it could be better to use clear, direct language because it can help them communicate better and build a strong foundation for their social and language skills.
It sounds like mastering direct, literal language is like a stepping stone, and understanding irony is something they will grow into as they get older. I've noticed with my own relative, and she's 5 years old, that when I keep things straightforward, she seems more confident in conversations. But when I try to joke or be ironic, she sometimes gets confused and frustrated. So it is a good reminder to match our communication to their stage of development and their age, right?
Great example. When you meet them at their level, it helps them feel understood and supported. And as they grow, you can gradually introduce them to more complex communication styles like irony. It's all about timing and balance.
That's such a helpful way to think about it. I will definitely try to remember that balance. Thanks for sharing this perspective. Well, we'll talk a lot about why adults avoid using irony in front of children. Now, I would like to also discuss why using irony with children matters and why irony comprehension is important for children, especially when it comes to social communication.
Irony helps kids understand more than just what words say. It helps them figure out what someone really means. For example, when someone says, "Oh, great weather we are having," when it's in fact raining, understanding the irony helps kids know the person is actually making a joke or pointing out something bad. This ability helps kids connect better with others and understand tricky social situations like jokes or gentle criticism.
So, it's not just about picking up on jokes, it's about understanding intent and tone.
Exactly. It's about children's ability to infer what someone else is thinking or feeling, as I mentioned before. Through irony, children can learn how to infer speakers' belief and intentions.
Would this be an example for that if a teacher says, "Nice job cleaning up," while looking at a messy desk, and children understand that it's a playful criticism behind that sentence?
It's a really good example. Children with strong perspective-taking skills can recognize the playful criticism and adjust their behavior accordingly.
That's really interesting. It seems like irony helps lighten potential tense situations for children as well. Does understanding irony also help kids solve the conflict with their peers?
It's a good point. I was about to mention about it. Recognizing irony, particularly when it's used to soften criticism, can make disagreements less confrontational. Imagine when one child missed the ball during the football game and one child says, "Nice aim," and the other says, "You missed the ball." How does it feel different between these two reactions?
"You missed the ball" is more direct criticism. It might cause potential argument between them.
Exactly. Using the irony, "Nice aim," might shift the interaction from a potential argument to a playful joke, reducing tension and encouraging a more positive approach to conflict.
That makes a lot of sense. And I also heard irony comprehension also ties into pragmatic language skills. Can you elaborate?
Great point. Irony is a big part of what we call pragmatic proficiency, which is about how we use language in real-world situations. When kids understand irony, they learn to interpret tone, context, and shared knowledge, not just the words themselves. It's like they are adding a whole new layer to their communication toolkit.
That's so impressive. And it's not just about language, isn't it? There's also something about how it helps with thinking skills.
Definitely, decoding irony boosts cognitive flexibility. That's the ability to switch between different ideas or perspectives. When kids hear an ironic statement, they are juggling both the literal meaning and the intended meaning at the same time. It's like a mental workout that helps them think more creatively and adaptively.
That's amazing. It's like irony is the secret key that unlocks all these skills: social, emotional, and cognitive. Let's do a quick recap. Understanding irony helps kids with social communication, conflict resolution, language skills, and cognitive flexibility. Did I miss anything?
Nope, that's a perfect summary. It really is a gateway skill that supports so many areas of a child's development.
This discussion is great. I think we have talked a lot about the theory now and can move on to the next phase of our conversation. Irony in practice. What does that look like?
To explore this question further, I spoke with a kindergarten teacher and a primary school teacher and asked them about their use of irony in their daily work and if they see any benefits for children.
What did the kindergarten teacher tell you?
She told me that the topic of children understanding irony and adults using irony with children was barely addressed during her training, and no institution she has worked at has given specific guidelines on using irony. In her own practice, she and her colleagues generally try to avoid using irony with children.
My niece is in her last year of kindergarten, and her parents have said that they don't remember irony ever being used consciously. Did the kindergarten teacher remember situations in which irony was used?
Yes, she remembered 2 situations in which she did use it. One example was when a child told her a nonsense story and said, "The elephant can fly," and she responded with, "Oh really? Can the elephant do that?"
Oh yes, I know that from my niece. In that case, I am being ironic too.
Another example she mentioned is when children are getting dressed in the winter to go outside. If she asked, "What do we need when we go outside? What should we put on?" and the child respond with, "A swimsuit," she might reply ironically, "Well, of course, because we are sweating from hot weather outside today."
Does the kindergarten teacher think irony has benefits?
She thinks that there would be advantages to using irony in a targeted manner at preschool age, for example, as part of a curriculum. Since, as her examples show, children are confronted with it anyway. But for that, it needs to be part of a teacher training. Of course, these are her personal experiences and her own opinion.
And what does the primary school teacher think about the use of irony?
She said that she uses it in class. For example, when a student does something wrong, irony helps them feel less bad. It lightens the mood of the student and the entire class, so she also sees benefits.
So both use irony in their daily work and see benefits in using irony.
Yes, these 2 real-life examples show that both kindergarten and primary school children are confronted with irony in everyday life and underline the assumption that it can bring benefits.
Thank you for this insight into reality. I know it's hard to say, but what advice can we give adults about dealing with irony in contact with children?
The answer depends on the child's age and the situation. Very young children often take language literally, so irony can confuse them. It is important not to use irony to criticize or ridicule children. As the reports have shown, children are exposed to irony and learning it, as this episode showed, has benefits and is important for children, like enhancing social communication.
It was a very interesting talk. Thank you for coming, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much for letting me be here.
Investigating Children's Irony Comprehension, the podcast.